Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of my Halloween drawing challenge. The sunglasses are here. Who is here? Who came? Who joined this time? Please let me know in the chat where you're joining from. Let's see. Let's see if we have some new challenge buddies as well as the usuals. How is everyone doing? Hi, Susan. All right. Let's give people a few minutes to show up. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. The time that I get this right the first time is going to be we're going to celebrate. Okay. Let me see. One moment. I'm going to remove myself for a Okay. Yes, we did it. Anyway, we're gonna get started with our illustration because it's a complex one. I went a bit overboard with this one. We're gonna see what we can do, and if we can't do it all, then you know that I always like give you some extra video or something where we can finish it up. But I'm pretty sure that with all the, let's see, we have some resources. Did you get the brushes from the Challenge Hub? Then we had the color palette. I hope that you could get that one. It's color palette number 4. And then we also have this template. Whoops, a black cat appeared. We have this template. Let me know, by the way, if you can see me and hear me fine as usual. If there's any issues, if it's blurry or if it sounds weird, let me know. I know that right now I have, because we know that in New York State, things are getting a bit chilly. So sometimes the heat comes on. So just in case, let me know. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Susan. Okay. We're going to get started with this and then we're going to talk about some stuff. Let's see where we can. There's so much that I want to share with you, but we're going to see if, we have a few weeks ahead. So if I don't get to share everything this time, we're going to see also tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow I'm also coming on here. So let's just get started. Okay. So we're going to first reduce the opacity of these things so that it doesn't bother us. And we're going to create a new layer on top. As I always say, I use my favorite brush, that's dry ink. You can find it under inking in Procreate. And we're going to start actually with the ground for this. So let me see. Oh, actually, that is not the heating. That actually may be rain. Because it sounds like, I don't know if you can hear anything, but it sounds like very strong and it got stronger. So I doubt that the heating is going full blast. Thank you. Awesome. Let's remind those guys. Gals, mostly. We're mostly gals over there. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the ground. I'm gonna pick let me see, one second. I believe it's this color over here. I create a new layer and I'm gonna start just creating the ground. This is super easy. And now I'm gonna fill it in with color. And as I always say, I'm gonna duplicate it, triplicate it, so that there are no weird textures on the edges. Okay. Let's actually create for now the things on the very bottom so that we can keep seeing the template. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab, and I made this for like time saving purposes so that I don't keep you here for 5 hours, because I actually want to focus today on how to make this illustration glow. It's not so much about the very simple shapes that it has, like the blobs that we're gonna create for the trees, or the tree sticks, or the pumpkin itself. It's more about how to make it stand out in the middle of the woods at night. So I'm gonna create a layer. Let's see. Create a layer on top of the ground, and I'm going to, with probably the same color, because then we're going to adjust it a little bit. I'm going to grab the trees brush, I should say. Okay. So I have it all the way to the max, and I'm just going to put it over here. Okay. Well, that's not going to be straight, but we can straighten it out. And let's see, maybe I can leave it there. Does that look straight? No. Well, maybe the trees have been hit by some wind, so like tonight over here. The other day, actually, I saw a tree falling, or that had fallen in my backyard to the side, but still fallen. I'm always terrified of that happening to me while I'm walking around. It's like, no, please. Okay. We're going to put it over there. Then we're going to create a new layer on top. And we're going to grab, let's see, the left tree, the treetop, and with maybe this color, I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, that's too small. I'm gonna put it over here and just try to make it fit that template that I gave you. It's honestly like, it's more or less like to give it a bit of a frame. Oh, cool. Let us know. I don't want to, I mean, maybe, I always say, let's chat. And it's like, if you're following along with my illustration, it's pretty hard to be also like, I mean, Susan is she's great at multitasking, but like, I see how it would be a bit complicated to be like, hey, I'm coming from this place, I'm doing this here, I'm doing that. So it's fine. But if you can, let us know where you're joining from, because I have like, I really want I want to know like how many countries we can get involved during the live workshops. Okay, we're gonna grab the right tree, and we're gonna make it bigger and put it over here. As you can see, these things are like very, very simple shapes. It's, as I always say, it's blobs. So, oh, hi, Gina. Gina is also here. That's awesome. Again, very probably, I don't know what the weather is like over there, but I'm still jealous because it's probably way better than here. To be fair, today it was warm during the day. Okay. These are going to be the same color, so I'm just going to keep them in the same layer. Uh, oh, the other day I saw, nice. I saw that you were talking about a bookbinding project. I think that's really cool. I obviously caught up with the chat later on. But there was one time, a very long time ago, when I actually created a, well, created. I did a bookbinding project, and I made like, I went to a class in person, and I made the front, like on the front I made this, like, what do you call this, like something that was under, oh my god, I don't know what the term is, but basically it said Flory, but it was like kind of like in um they had type, you know, like the real type, and they, with a machine, they pressed it onto the cover. Anyway, so it was really, really fun. I'm gonna grab, let's see, for this I am actually going to just create the blobs because it's super easy. With a bit of a darker color, maybe this one, I'm gonna just create 2 blobs over here, one over there, and then one over here. Make sure that those shapes are all the way closed, as I always say, because otherwise, you know, things are gonna flood the canvas. Then behind that, I'm gonna create more trees with a darker color, maybe that one. These are not going to be super visible in the final illustration, so that's why I'm not spending too much time on them. They're just there to create the sense of, I don't know, depth in the forest. Okay, and one last one with like super dark green over here. Okay, we have our trees. Now we're gonna work on our bushes right there. Again, you can see that this bottom part of the trees is not gonna be visible because we're gonna have the pumpkin on top, so, or in front of it. So it doesn't matter where it ends, because you may be saying, hey, why is the ground over there and the trees are flying? Doesn't matter. The power of layers. Okay, and then for this, these, let's see over here. Okay, we're gonna have the same color as these 2 trees for the bushes. I always double check that I'm on a new layer when I intend to be there, because the amount of times in the beginning when I would create the same stuff in the same layer, and it's like, it's not that I always recolor my illustrations, or honestly, mostly, like, I don't really do it, but the times that I actually need those shapes for something else, and I'm like, I created just one layer. Well, I haven't done that in years, but it's not good. Okay, so we see that we are over the ground. We want it to be cut off. So what I'm gonna do is actually bring the ground up so that there we have those bushes. And on top of this layer, we're going to create another one, and that is looking like super blue, but it's actually green. Anyway, we can change it. We can change it because I made it in different layers. Okay, what we're gonna do is activate the alpha lock and actually choose a green, maybe that one. and fill layer. Okay, that's much better, you see. And I'm gonna do the same with those trees. Okay. I always forget that it's like, yes, sorry, I just got up with a chat. Embossing. Thank you. Thank you for the term. It was driving me insane. I always forget that my screen is making the colors like look very weird, and I don't think they look like that. Well, it depends on the screen that you have. Anyway, let's create on top of these bushes, let's create the smaller ones over here, and with like maybe that color. Okay, and because now we already have the ground like in front of it, it's not gonna be a problem. I love that there are more people in the community space. I'm really, really happy that our efforts, I should say, our efforts to invite people in have been successful. It's really fun. It's so much fun to be able to see how different people interpret the prompts. I'm really, really excited. Let's see. Okay, we're done with those bushes. I'll create one over here too. Maybe like, sorry, maybe on top of this one. That's that color. Oh, actually, this one goes on top of the ground. Okay, and because we started here, we're gonna start with the bushes that go here on the very bottom. For this, I actually think there are a few brushes that we can use. Yes. Let's try it out. Let's see if we can save some time here. Hang on. I don't know. Well, let's try this one. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. It kind of looks like a puzzle that I'm trying to like fit in. I want these like, I want these two to be the same color, but then we're gonna add texture to it to separate them. You can just play around. You can just like make them. You don't have to use my brushes. And with that same color, we're gonna create, let's see, another one over here. I'm gonna create them with you by hand if you're doing that. And I want it to be slightly darker. Maybe that one. I saw, I think today, that someone, I don't want to butcher the name or the username. I'm not, I'm not gonna be able to say it, but I saw that they posted a really cool interpretation of the prompt, one of the prompts for the first week, that was, I think it was Mischievous Ghost. And there was this like support group for ghosts. And one of them said, I'm only here for the booze. I have to clap. I mean, when you say it, it's even better. It's really, I loved it. So this is what I'm saying. I love that, I would have never thought of that. For me, my ghost was just reading a book, I think, and had like an eyebrow kind of like up, and that was my mischievous ghost, because I went like the super obvious route with that one. Anyway, let's create. Maybe for this one, we're gonna make it slightly lighter in color. And going back to that layer, I believe it's, no, this one. I'm gonna create a little bush over there. Okay, well, so now we have that. What we're gonna do next is start with our pumpkin so that then we can create the sky behind it. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna go to the very top, and with maybe this orange, we're gonna go over this. And before we start with the details, I want to show you what I promised, and I'm not gonna forget this time, because I promised to show this Halloween event that I went to. I think it was like 3 years ago or something. Maybe, yeah, 3 years ago. Maybe even longer. It was so cool because they had so many carved pumpkins that were obviously carved like by hand. I mean, I don't know how they did that, but you're not gonna believe it when I show you. It's a lot of work. I don't know. Have you ever carved a pumpkin? I did it a couple of times. And it's always like, why did I start doing this? Like, it's let's see. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I think it's this one. Yeah. Let me know if you can see it whenever you see it. I know that I'm a couple of seconds behind, and then I'll start sharing everything. But that's so cool, because it's not like the typical oh wow, Rice Long Island is a must see. Let's put this on stage. Nice. Thousands. Yeah, well, I don't know how many there were here. This one is called Halloween Blaze, I think. It's in the Hudson Valley, and I think there's one somewhere else in New York State. And I went there. It was so cool. Anyway, let me show you instead of talking so much. They like carved, I mean, a dog. Like, how do you do that? I don't understand. I mean, animals. Then they had, of course, like the headless horseman bridge that I thought was so cool. This was like going kind of like under it. And I mean, a dinosaur. Like, what? How? Then they also had this house. If you can't see it, let me know, by the way. Like, I don't want to be I don't want to be talking and you can't see anything. That wouldn't be fair. Then they, fish. Then they had like these. I think that this could be really cool for one of the prompts. I'm not sure which one, but I'm sure you can make it fit if you wanted to create something like this for one of the prompts. It's like, I mean, these like tombs with I don't know. I don't have any words because it's honestly like it speaks for itself. Then they had this one. I have a cat for Susan. The amount of detail is insane. Oh, that's me. Okay, I also wanted to show you that one is the one that I carved, like the first one that I carved ever, I believe. Um, then on the other side, I made some lettering, and then I made a couple of artistic looking pictures. I decided to take them. This one too, and then it ended up like this. I left it out at night, and I don't know what ate an eye and the half of the face. So there, I wanted to end it with that because I mean I couldn't show you my jack o' lantern after everything else that I had shown you. Anyway, so let's continue with this. And the reason why I'm showing you that is because, in case you didn't see my emails, like I love the idea of seeing real things and getting inspired by them, because lately it's really hard to find real inspiration, as I always say. You don't know what's real, what's not, and I think that, well, this is definitely real because I was there. I promise you. So anyway, let's get started with the pumpkin because it's gonna be a bit of work. So there are a couple of brushes for this. We have the main window. It should go, let me see. We're gonna make it this color. It should go, wow, that is huge. Should go kind of like over there. I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. And then we have the other two. I'm going to make it in a different layer because I want to adjust it. I want to be able to play around with it. Okay. Let's see. And on the other side, we have the left one. Let's see. Okay. Okay. That's more or less what we want to have. Maybe a bit smaller because we want, honestly, we want the main window to be the biggest one. So maybe we'll make it like that. And then behind this, so on top of the pumpkin, we're going to create a new layer, and with yellow, we're going to make a couple of shapes so that we can have the feeling of it having some lights on inside. Let's see. Okay. Now we're going to work a little bit. We can actually pinch these layers and make them one so that we can now add a bit of detail to them. So for this one, we're going to do the following. Let's see. I'm going to create like some shading like that on both sides. And then we want to think that this one, these are going to be some shelves. So sorry for like the dizzy, if you get dizzy with my with my screen. We're gonna try to do that. And yeah, and over here, we're also going to add a bit of shading. And we are not going to care too much about the top part of this because it's going to be covered. So the next thing that we're going to do is for this one, I'm going to create a layer on top. I'm going to grab something that's a lot lighter, and we're going to make the frame for this. Maybe that's too bright. Let me see here. Maybe that one is better. Yes. Okay. So, let me see. Melville, New York. Oh, okay, cool. I'm not sure where that is. I'm terrible. I'm so bad at towns. But thank you. Thank you for the. I would love to check that out. I'm gonna try. I know that it gets like very busy right around this time. But I always love it. I always love seeing these things in person. And the reason why I showed you those pictures also is because coming up, I'm also going to have a couple of workshops on here where I teach you how to make. This is kind of like in between illustrations that look kind of cute and that look like that glow in the dark kind of effect, because as I said last time, I used to work a lot on illustrations that had a lot of contrast, and then I thought there was the cute aspect that I couldn't really find with it was like it was one or the other. This illustration that I'm doing right now, it's a bit in the middle because it's not all the way, like it's not full contrast, but I want to create another workshop where I teach you how to have that sort of like glow in the dark effect. I've always been a fan of that. Okay, let's like quickly add the awning to this so that we can move on, because otherwise I'm not going to keep my promise here. And we are going to stay here for 3 hours now. I'm kidding. Let's make the awning kind of like that. And you can always obviously make it your own by adding the colors that you like the most. I tend to always use the same. I give you different palettes because they're like, more or less it's slightly different shades, but if you take a look at them, it's pretty much the same. Because it stuff that starts resonating with you, or you're like, you kind of like levitate or gravitate, towards those colors. Let's see, for this one, I want to add a bit of a line with a darker color that I don't have. So I'm going to go to classic and just add a little line there. Let's make it thinner. Well, actually, let's just make it in a new layer, because I'm not gonna. It's just a little detail. Okay. So we have the windows for now. Let's add some extra shades to these to separate or give them a bit of depth, rather. And this one here over here too. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to add the stem. And after that, we can add the sky so that you can't see. I always want to hide the reflection of my phone. If we make the pumpkin first, you're not going to be able to see it. So pumpkin stem. is the brush. We're going to create a layer on top, and I'm going to use, let's see, this color. And while I'm adding some detail to this, I want to talk about a bit about what we're going to be doing in the future for the challenge, because I sent out the last prompts on Monday. I'm also going to hide this template because I don't need it anymore. So obviously the challenge hasn't started yet, the actual challenge. Let's add some detail to this with a bit of a darker blue gray. I created an alpha lock or activated the alpha lock in this so that I can't paint anywhere else. And I'm just gonna start adding detail. So I always forget to switch brushes. What I want to do in the coming weeks is help and also like do these things myself, because to be honest with you, I haven't really started creating the final illustrations to post for the actual challenge. I have some like outlines, but it's nowhere near where I want it. So what I want to be doing, because we don't have any new prompts, is just come here and while you work on your sorry, one second. Yeah, we needed a slightly darker color here. Sorry, lighter for this one. So I'm going to do that. While we work either together or you work on your prompts and I work on mine, it's going to be more like a roundup kind of thing that we can do. And I know that a lot of people don't like posting on social media. So if you don't feel like doing that, or if you don't feel comfortable posting on social media for the challenge itself, then obviously you can do it in the community space. You don't have to, it doesn't have to happen on Instagram. I rarely post, honestly, on Instagram anymore. It's been really hard to just like, as I have said before, find the community, or kind of like even the people that I want to see. It's hard. So it was hard to keep up with that rhythm. But I also wanted to experiment and see what happens if one starts actually posting every day. I know that it's like kind of like an old, maybe an old advice, but it's just an experiment. And the way that I'm going to post it is, it's not like, the finished illustration and like flat and as an image. I'm going to try to post it with some flat lay, kind of like maybe even printed, or showing it in a video, something like that. Because I also don't want to just like put it out there as it is. Okay. Well, we have a stem with some details. One can spend too long on illustrations. I like that I always like encourage you to not and try to keep it super simple. Like, remember that we have, because next week, can you believe that this is the last workshop, or actually tomorrow will be the last workshop in September. Next week is October. Let me read the chat for a moment. Yeah, the new algorithms are not what they used to be. I completely agree. It's really tough. It's tough to keep up too. And I don't know, if you don't have the community aspect, then it's really hard to, like, what are you even doing it for? Sometimes you don't know. Anyway, You remember that you have these frames from week 2, I want to say, and the stamp from week 1 that I provided in case you need to make simple illustrations and have something, uh like for instance, I have this one here. It's super simple, but I obviously they're still like in draft stages, but I put it as a book cover and then it's more postable, instead of just like creating something simple and like it doesn't look finished. But as a book cover, as a little thing in the middle, maybe it does. Maybe like as a sticker, so remember that you have these frames to use whenever you need to catch up with a challenge, or if you need to like create things during this week and you're like, I don't know what to post. You have the first prompt is Ghosted in the Woods. That is the first live stream that I also created a high definition video for it, if you want to follow along. And then the rest of the prompts, we're going to make a couple tomorrow. And then next week, I'm going to also talk about the possibility of doing some sort of fast track so that you're not falling behind. Also, like, let's remember that we're just doing this because, like, to enhance our creativity. It's not like no one is running, so it's fine if you don't post all of them, or if you want to just post a few. Yeah, for sure. I'm agreeing with Gina in the chat. They definitely want you to pay now. I completely agree. Okay, I'm gonna add some detail to the pumpkin very, very fast. So what I'm gonna do is to stay within those like edge or like the outline or the shape, I should say. I'm gonna create a layer on top and make it a clip-in mask so that I don't go anywhere else. And then for this one, because I want to make it fast, I'm gonna make the brush super big, and I'm gonna let me see here. I'm going to grab that color that's like slightly lighter. And I'm going to do that to kind of like have like different, I'm sorry. I must do that. I know that it may be dizzying. But sometimes, the position of your hand is like, I don't know. We were talking about this. I'm happy to see that so many people actually like or love starting on paper, and not directly digitally. It's really hard for me to. You always see me here starting digitally, but it's hard to not use paper. Like here you can see the final sketch for this. Let's see if it'll focus. Sorry for the shade. It started like this. This is how I start. I take a picture of my sketch, or thumbnail, I should say, because that's like very fast. And then I start creating on top, the idea of it. After that, I go back to paper and I do what I just showed you. That is much more detailed. And when I need to visualize the colors that I want to use, I go back to my little thumbnail and I do something very fast to have an idea of what I want to create. Later, when I have, the full illustration, I make this. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that really fast to show you, like, it's not, I'm going to make this a bit bigger. Sometimes it's not very nice to start to see the rough sketches. So that's why I start differently during these workshops. But I wanted to show you what actually happens. So let's make the sky. We're gonna make it purple. And then, let's see, on the very bottom, so right above the background color, with some texture brush, I'm going to, and with like a darker purple, I think this is the same one. I need a darker purple. I'm going to do the following. On the very top, I'm going to add some texture, and around the pumpkin, I'm going to choose this lighter one. Hang on. And I'm going to add this. We're going to add a few more effects later on to make it glow more. Excuse me. But for now, let's leave it like that. And let's see, what are we missing here? We're going to quickly create a layer. Let's see. We're going to quickly add some details. To the, we have a cat. And we're going to make it black because it's a Halloween cat. That is too big. That is like a toy pumpkin cafe. Okay, and we have the little lanterns that go to the sides here. Actually, new layer because I want to be able to adjust them. And then we have a couple of branches that are closer. So because they're closer, so I want them to look lighter in color. So I'm going to pick that color and create one over here. No. We're going to have some pumpkin lights kind of like going over. I think that is fine. Yeah. We have to add a lot more detail to it. So now it doesn't really like, it's not going to make too much sense yet. Okay. And now we're going to add the pumpkin lights. New layer. We want them to maybe go from the branch to one of the branches to like, let's bring it down so that you can't see. Let me see here. No, actually, no, I don't like how how it looks over there. Let's just do this. We're going to bring it down here. And it kind of looks like it goes to the window. And I'm going to erase a couple of parts. Okay. Oops. Let's tie it up there. And erase some parts. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate that and mirror it so that it's the same on the other side. It may not fit perfectly, but we can duplicate it another time to bring it all the way. Maybe it's a bit bigger than that. Again, I mean, these things you can also with time make, because it requires a lot of detail within the pumpkin lights. And it honestly, I thought that a brush would make things easier, but it's like not. It's actually like slowing things down. Let's like make it. Let's erase that and make it fit over there. Okay, there we go. Poor pumpkins. They're not like very well distributed. Anyway. Okay. Let's continue over here with some extra details. We're gonna add a blackboard. Let's create a layer on top. Let's make it black. Ooh, huge. And actually, we're not going to make it black because this needs to be the frame. I'm going to make it maybe that color. And then behind it with black, I'm going to use the dry ink brush. And here we're going to just write the message that we want. For my model illustration, I made it cozy coffee. I actually don't like, it's weird. I don't like coffee, or I used to like coffee, and then it started making me like feel too hyper or something. I don't do well with caffeine. And let's see. Did I not give you like, I guess I didn't give you the pumpkin brushes. Can't find them. Anyway, I'm going to very quickly make them. I could have sworn that they were in the brush set. Okay, let's make one this color. Let me take a look at the chat. I don't add color on paper. In the past, I have worked on paper with like Posca markers, but you know, I always cheated, and I went to the iPad and created the thumbnail that I showed before with color to see what would work out, because I need to visualize it first. Like, I do it very fast, and then I pick the colors, you know, that kind of match what I did digitally. Or rather, I because Posca markers are super limited, so I just see what could be the same digitally, and then I just play around with it until it works. Let's see, I want to use this one maybe. I'm just gonna create like a couple of pumpkins here. And behind this, one that's a bit lighter. Nothing too exciting, nothing too complicated. Okay. Let me see. I want to see if we can speed this up so that I can show you the... Yeah, wow. You know, Flory, when did you think that you could teach this in in an hour? No one knows. That was, but we're gonna give it our best shot to get to the most important part, which is this like glow effect. I just want to add a, let's see, this effect too over here. Actually, like below this layer, I'm going to add with white. I'm going to grab white from a different palette because I didn't add it here. I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to reduce the opacity. Maybe we actually wanted like under the stem. And then with the same, on the same layer, I'm going to do something like this. So this, for now, I mean, actually could be anything. It doesn't have to be a cafe. It could be a restaurant. It could be, I don't think it's someone's house. That would be weird to have like a main window. For what? It looks like, you know, something is going to happen here. Okay. I'm trying to see if we can like, let me see. Let's just create the effect that I want to show you, and then we can add the character after for those of you who want to stick around. I'm going to go here to our pumpkin, and I'm going to create a layer on top, and I'm going to make it actually, yeah, let's see. I'm going to make it a clipping mask. Let me see one thing. Yeah. With a texture brush, that's in sketching, I'm going to, and with yellow, I'm going to add some texture to the sides. So like that. Let's see if you can see. So it kind of looks like it's illuminated, if you will. And same on this side. And another thing that I do is on the bottom, so behind the pumpkin, I add a bit more of that effect. So for now, it's not going to be super noticeable because this actually takes like a few layers of detail. Okay, this actually reminds me, the other day I was thinking of a few Disney movies, like Cinderella. I feel like a lot of the things that I've made somehow are a tribute to different old Disney movies. And the other day I showed you like it's called Call from the Catacombs, and it's like, it's, I don't have it here. I could I'm not gonna like, you know, waste your time, but it's kind of like grabbing a very old phone that reminds me of my great grandparents' phones that, you know, you could like dial like that. And that is actually, I wish I could show you now, but it's actually like, it's stuck in my head from a scene from 101 Dalmatians. It's like, I'm going to show you in the community space because I swear I had no idea that I knew that I had such a great visual idea of what I wanted to make. And I was like, why do I see this like so clearly? And I feel like it came from that movie. So I'm going to show you later on. Anyway. Oh, Ruth is here. Hi, Ruth. I don't know if you joined before the streams, but welcome. I wanted to say something about. Oh, right, the puns, the Halloween puns from this week, because I noticed a few things in the community space that I thought were really cool. I'm I'm going to say this and then I'm just going to continue so that we can finish it up. Um, Susan said cat combs, which I thought was awesome because her main character is a cat. Then we have something that I think Leslie said, fabulous. That would make more sense if I wrote it down. And oh, there was one more. Oh, Roxana said, wait, oh my God, I'm blanking on this. Hang on. Oh, that's the spirit. That's the spirit. Anyway, a few puns that I decided to, bring to the stream. So let me show you before we move on, let me show you the effect. So I'm going to create a layer on top of everything else, and I'm going to make it black. Let's see. Make it black. You're not going to see anything except for my phone. And I'm going to reduce the opacity to say maybe 30%-ish. Then with the eraser tool and that texture brush, I'm going to make it big and I'm going to go over the pumpkin. This may be hard to see on screen. I hope that it is noticeable. And I'm gonna in circles do that. This is also something that you have to figure out in your own illustration how it's looking, because you want to think of it as an expansive glow. So it depends on where your sky starts or where your trees end, but you see it kind of looks like the trees are illuminated. Actually, yeah. So we have that. And then we're going to duplicate this. And the bottom one that we just made is going to be, oops, what did I do there? Soft light. Let me see here. You have to play around a bit with the opacity of these things, because I think maybe 70% for the bottom one, and I did 30% for the top one. So now it's looking a bit more we're in the woods and there's a light effect going on. And then on top of all of this, I make, with black as well and with a texture brush, I make this kind of like an arch. And then I duplicate it, I flip it vertically, and I bring it down here. Okay. And then again, you can play around with the opacity if you think that looks let's put it on the same layer by merging that. If you think it looks too dark, you can play around. But you see, now just adding those, now it's 3 layers. It looks a lot more deep, if you will. And we didn't have to do anything to each tree, because in general, I take a long time adding detail to every tree, and we don't have to do that. We could play around a little bit with let's see, the tree layer and make some of those a bit darker than others or a bit lighter, so that it looks like they're either farther away or closer. Yeah. And then you see like the background is still looking, we're missing the moon. We're missing the moon. Ruth's character, I was going to talk about this. Ruth's character, I know that it's not, but it could be the moon. That like full moon could be a character. Not everything has to be like, animals or um, people. Could be also like something a bit more, it's not a being. On top of that purple that we had for the background, I'm going to add a bit of black so that it adds more depth. And then what we can do also is, as I said before, play around with yellow with like these pumpkin lights. Oops. Maybe like in the middle, these are going to be slightly, I mean, this would need to have like, let me see here. You can either do that, or you can, with the texture brush, you can like do that. Let's see if you can see that. I wouldn't leave them the way that they are now. I would take a little more time on them. But you see, like, it looks like they're glowing. Anyway, and what I'm gonna do very fast is I'm going to add some steps that go to the pumpkin with like a lighter color. Actually, this one. We can add a few steps. And we are going to add with the texture brush. Let me see where. It has to be like below the pumpkin. Okay. Yeah, with that same color, I'm going to do this so that it also looks like the ground is a bit like lighter. And I'm going to right like underneath. Let me like not make you dizzy. I'm going to add that so that also it looks like it's on the ground. And then we can also get rid of whatever is in front of these like other bushes, because it won't look it will look like part of it, and we don't want that. We want the bushes to be like in the front. Okay. So the last thing that I can do to add, to not go over too much, is I'm going to add my character. I'm going to add my little ghost. And remember that you have like, my ghost was selling all kinds of baked goods. Remember that you have the brushes to add those, or you can also play around with them yourself if you're following along with me with this illustration. So for the ghost, it's so easy. I'm gonna do that. Then in a new layer, I'm going to add the little hands, or arms, I should say. Sorry that today it has been. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to show you very quickly something that I promised I would show you. Today it's been like super busy with this illustration, and I apologize that I couldn't let you know all the things that I wanted to let you know to be a bit more to interact a bit more in the chat, because I think it's a lot of fun to read later. For me to read later, for you to be able to interact. Um, but yeah, I chose a very, very complex illustration with one of the brushes. I'm going to add the mug that it's holding. I was saying before that I actually don't like coffee. I like tea because I can't handle caffeine too well. So tea is a bit milder. I know that some of you prefer coffee. I don't know if anyone is with me with the tea. You know, maybe like in the US it's a bit maybe you have more like iced tea than I mean hot tea. Let's see. Okay. And now we're going to add of course, I reached the layer limit. Of course, I overdid that. We're gonna merge a few. I'm gonna make the eyes. Let me see here. My ghost is always like super like confused. It's not sure what it's doing. We're gonna add a couple of cheeks. I always end up in the wrong color palette. You see, that's what I'm saying. I keep like giving you similar colors, and I even confuse myself. We're gonna give it like a little mouth, and we're going to give it an apron very fast. Let's see if we can bring this over here so that, okay. I just want to give it like this and a little hat, the same color. And then I'm going to give it some stripes, because who doesn't like stripes? I love stripes. Same for the hat. And let's see, with maybe like a slightly darker color. We're gonna add that. Okay, and with gray, we're gonna add just a couple of details on top of the white to add the arms. Okay, so we have our ghost. Oh, mine actually has, this face is like super big for me. Let's see. That's looking better. We have a bit of texture on the side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna activate the alpha lock there. And with pink, I don't know if we have it here. I'm going to just add a bit of texture to the side. Let me merge these. It's like, it's like pink. It's not the same pink as the cheeks though. Okay. Well, there we have it. We left our cat with no eyes. But I don't want to steal more of your time. I will create like a very short video to address the final details, but basically like we have some details on the branches, and we have like some details on the pumpkins, and on the floor. But other than that, like the main reason why I wanted to share this or show you this tutorial was for the glow effect, which I think we could do. Again, we can spend like a lot of time. We're gonna give the cat eyes. It's Susan's request. I must follow. We can't. I mean, what is this? Poor guy. We need to give it eyes. Let me see. Okay. Cat's eyes are not like super, especially on black, they're not super easy because they may look a bit crazy. So I like giving it like an extra sparkle there. And whiskers, of course. Okay. And what I do also for the cat, because the cat is wait, I need to show that. I'm glad you're feeling better. That would have been like too bad. That wouldn't have allowed me to sleep. I promise you, like I need the cat to have eyes. Anyway, we're gonna add some texture. I'm gonna make this into alpha lock, and just to like, you see, because like the cat is looking towards the pumpkin, we need a bit of light as well. So we're gonna make it. We're gonna do that. And then maybe like what I do, because I always tell you I don't like outlines in my illustrations, what I do is I erase some parts very gently, because otherwise it looks like poor guy. We don't want it to be like the headless horseman or whatever. I add a few details like here and there to give the illusion of dividing lines for the legs and the tail and everything. Okay, we have our cat. Our cat has eyes. Our main character, the ghost, has eyes. I think that it's pretty good. Like it could have been a lot better, but it's not bad. I hope that you learned some tricks from this tutorial. Remember that I'm gonna also show you this. One sec. That's like another picture from the pumpkin blaze. Remember that this is the last week of September to get your stuff like together for to start posting in October. We're gonna keep talking in the community space. I was a bit behind, but today I caught up, I think. We're gonna keep talking about it, and we're gonna see how we can do things so that we can start posting on October 1st. And of course, like tomorrow, I'm gonna be here at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So whoever wants to join is always welcome. I'm hoping that we can also get some people from the other side of the world, see if they can join, because it's a bit earlier. I know that I'm pretty sure that Roxana is going to join, but if anyone else, maybe they watch the replay and they want to join, I hope that you do that. And thank you so much for being here. We're gonna keep working on prompts. We're gonna keep working, keep sharing what you keep creating, even if it's like a very quick sketch. I love seeing them. Okay. Tomorrow we're gonna continue with all the things that I wanted to talk to you about, because I'm sure that I haven't prepared something this complicated. We're gonna go freehand tomorrow, so there's going to be a lot more opportunity to talk. Okay. Well, here we are. This is like the end of our tutorial. I'll see you tomorrow or next Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here as usual, and goodbye. See you next time.